We'll answer that in more detail in just a little bit. Okay? All right. Let's go to the next page, and you're going to see a map where we chart energy and satisfaction. And you're going to see a blue diamond, and that's where St. James the Fisherman lands. Now, I would like to explain what we've learned about congregations depending on what quadrant they land in, okay? So I'm going to end with the quadrant you're in, but I'm going to start over here. So a church that their responses showed that they were high energy and high satisfaction, we call those transformational churches. I wish every church in the country was here, because it says they're functioning on all cylinders. They're clear about their mission, they live it out, they have ministries that help them share that mission. They're changing the lives of people in the community that they serve that are in need. They feel transformed by the love of Jesus themselves. And they have strong leadership, and they have a vision for how they're going to keep improving in the future. About 20% of churches nationally are here. Okay? If you were in this quadrant, which is high satisfaction, low energy, we call that the static quadrant. This is a congregation that's very self-satisfied, but has no energy. It's like sitting in your favorite dream car with an empty tank of gas. You're very comfortable where you are, but you're not going anywhere. There's no motivation for change because people are satisfied, and these are the churches that close most rapidly because they don't want to do anything. It just is kind of a chapel just for us. And when we're gone and the money's gone, then we'll just close the doors. Okay? If you were low energy, low satisfaction, low energy, you would be in this quadrant that's called reinvention or recovery. These are congregations that have lost their way. They need to reinvent themselves or recover a sense of purpose. Why are we here? What does God want us to do in this place? And so they need to work hard at looking at what's purposeful for us to be doing, and to create the strategies once they understand what their mission is, to move forward. About 30 to 35% of congregations nationally are here. I've seen them do really good work and go from here to here in 3 years by doing the work they need to do. Now, you're on the cusp. I add a fifth quadrant in the middle. I'll get to that. But without this fifth quadrant, you fall into what's called the chaos quadrant. That doesn't surprise me, especially a congregation that hasn't had, if you will, a designated clergy leader. I call these ADHD congregations. Pardon me if I'm offending anyone. But it's like there are a lot of ideas, and someone takes an idea and goes with it, but not a whole lot of other people might be doing it. And when that person gets tired of the idea or it falls flat on its face, the satisfaction goes down. Oh, that failed. I take it personally. Or the congregation goes, we keep trying things, but nothing sticks. And so there's energy to try things, but then when it doesn't work, the satisfaction goes down. So a chaos congregation, so you're calling a new rector into this place. You would want someone who gets that and who would help you focus on your mission. And I'm assuming your mission is open minds, open doors, open hearts. in the name of God, right? In Jesus. That you would have a leader along with the vestry leaders who would reflect on that mission and then say, because of the size of this congregation, you're not going to do 10 different ministries. I mean, you already have one, and that's your school. And maybe that's it. And maybe you put all your energy into the school, or maybe you choose one other ministry that opens minds and hearts and doors. And you bring everyone into that focus. And so that everyone's saying, I am helping open minds and hearts and doors by doing whatever. And you become known for that in this community. I mean, then there's not the sense of chaos. Everyone knows this is what we're here to do in God's name. And it energizes people. And then by changing other people's lives, yes, Michelle.
So that's a little dog that represents us.
Mm-hmm.
Barely naked. Is that right? Is that how I understand that?
That you're barely in the chaos?
Barely, or is there such churches that are like out there in space, like above that?
Oh, there are churches that are all over the chaos quadrant. This gets at how you answered the satisfaction question and how you answered the energy question. So and the question I have is, do you think you were maybe 2 years ago? Were you up here, over here, or down? Are you moving downward, do you think? Has been the trend, or maybe you were here and all the work you've been doing to keep this place going, you're upward, and that's good. So you think you're on a positive trajectory, and so over time, what I would hope is that you would reaffirm this mission, or say, maybe it needs to be clearer. And then talk about what are the ministries that are most important to this community that you live in, and that you feel that you can address. And I guarantee you, as you are energized by that and focused, you're going to move this way. But you have to keep saying, and what's God continuing to call us to do, because that changes. And so what this is going to ask you to do is, do you talk to your neighbors? Do you talk to people who live in the area? Do you know what they need that's not being met? So I will share with you a story that's one of my favorites. Because, one, it's an Episcopal church, and the new rector there is someone I have great admiration for. And it's in the Diocese of Chicago, where I used to work. And it was a community your size. Their average Sunday attendance was about 25. And not far, actually, your demographics, we'll get to that in a minute, but you are, 80% are you, no surprise, are over 65. 70% of Grace Church was over 75. So older but vibrant people in that age. Anyway, they were a little bit more down here when they did the cat, and wondering if they just needed to close the doors. They're old. Maybe God had better things to do for them. Well, they engaged in what is God calling us to? Is God calling us to close, or God calling us to do something here in this community? And so they were discerning a new mission statement, and I asked them, well, do you know what is needed in the community that you might help with? And they were like, no. So we did a little training, and on a Saturday morning, the vestry and whoever else from the congregation wanted to go, I sent them out, and they just walked around town. And they interviewed whoever they ran into at the grocery store, or the park, or what on the street. And they came back at noon. They left at 9. They came back at noon, and they talked with each other about what they learned. And what they learned was this community had undergone a pretty steep economic downturn, and the schools, because of lack of money, cut out their after-school program. And what they kept hearing was from parents, we don't know what to do with our kids. There aren't resources here, and I can't get home from work, and I don't want my kids at home alone. And so that afternoon, they listened to each other and said, well, can we do something about that? And then one woman said, well, most of us are grandparents. We love our grandkids. We know kids. We love kids. Can we do something? So they started an after-school program very slowly. They said, maybe we can staff this 2 days, 2 afternoons a week. Is it worth trying? So they went out in the community and interviewed the parents, and the parents said, we'll take what we can get.